Welcome to Growth Purposes Only podcast with me, your host, Princess Sarafina. Join me Thursdays for all new episodes on all streaming platforms and our YouTube channel for Growth Purposes Only, no spaces. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Today, we have a special guest. Her name is Olivia. She will be joining us today as we talk about purpose. First and foremost, I want to pray that whomever is supposed to receive this message, it reaches you and uplifts you. So do you want to say a few things, like introduce yourself?
So my name is Olivia. I am a Cleveland braider. I'm a mom, and I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. So on my podcast, we talk about spiritual and personal experiences that help shape our identity and, how we deal with life and ultimately how we grow closer to God. So first and foremost, I would like to ask you, what called you to God? What was your experience?
So growing up, I grew up in a church. So I stopped going. I still believed in God. I still prayed. Even in high school, my dad would still read us the Bible, although he wasn't going to church. I didn't start going back to church and actually trying to change my life around till recently. The whole, I just told you about me getting fired.
Mm-hmm.
I just was really lost.
Mm.
That was a really good job. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I lost everything actually after losing the job. So, I mean, I feel like I needed to lose everything though, because losing everything can bring you to everything that you need.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I'm still on my journey, my spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm enjoying it, and I do feel a lot better now than last year when I lost everything.
Yeah.
And I wasn't praying, I wasn't doing nothing the right way, the way we're supposed to live.
Mm-hmm.
So, how was your journey?
Kind of the same. And it's so funny, when you say that you lost everything, because I feel like God uses those moments and capitalizes on them.
I know.
She needs somebody. This is my you know what I mean?
Yeah, she out here playing with her life. Let me take it all away.
Yeah. And, and it really kind of makes us really think about our future, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's a really good moment for God to step in. You need to know how you're going to move forward. Right. And this is now when you can build a relationship with me. So my situation was similar. I was last year, about October, end of October, I was going through a breakup, and similar church my whole life, based on obedience, just following my parents. And then I never really built a relationship with God on my own at that time. I was kind of the opposite. I was very rebellious as a child. I knew right from wrong, but I just always did the wrong thing. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It was, I just like to live life on the wild side. So it led me down a lot of different paths. I became a teen mom and things like that. But ultimately, God knows the beginning from the end. So it's just he knew all the places where I would go. And so I feel this last time I was going through a really bad breakup, and I was just yeah, this is crazy. I did everything right. You know what I mean? I really tried to do things the right way, and it still didn't work out. Yeah. And I was just really hard on myself. And I was crying a lot. And then you would think I was in a relationship for years, but it was just
girl,
everything that I went through to get to that point.
No, a breakup, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
But he just came in at that moment, and it was just ever since then we've been super inseparable. It's not one thing I don't think I can go through without God. Anything come my way now, I'm just well, I mean, this too shall pass. You know what I mean?
Right,
I approach every situation now with this is either going to teach me something or it's going to bless me, and either way it's a blessing because I'm learning. So you know what I mean? I just try to approach every situation with, I know God's here with me, so this has to be doing something good for me.
Right. Right.
So,
it's happening for a reason.
Listen, and I've always been like that. Everything happens for a reason,
So I just now started being like that.
Oh, I've been like that forever.
Oh my God, why me?
Yeah,
my life.
You know, I used to be like that in relationships because I always thought like, I'm not even a bad person. You know what I mean? Like, why is this happening to me? But like in life though, like with other situations outside of relationships, I always was like, this must not be as meant for me. And I don't know if that was just like my careless mentality, like, oh, well, this ain't for me. You know what I mean? Or truly, it really just wasn't for me. Like, you know what I mean? And that's why we're talking about purpose. So by definition, I just had it up here. Purpose is the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. So in my last episode, I was just talking about how like a lot of people's careers, they kind of like associate that with their purpose. And as much as it seems as that's the purpose, but it's not. Like a lot of us have side jobs that are more fulfilling than our, you know, our 9 to 5. So it makes me think like, you know, that can be our purpose. Then, you know, if we still need something else to fulfill us and not just like monetary wise, but like the side jobs we pick obviously feel good to us too, for us to be able to do them. So you are a braider, right? So how does that fit into your purpose?
So at first I was just doing first I've always enjoyed doing hair. So many girls in my family. I have 3 little sisters. I've been braiding my whole life. Doing hair, it all started like a competition with me and my sister. Like, oh, let's see who could do, you know, the neater braids and who can get done the fastest. And then when I posted it online, people started swiping up like, oh, how much do you charge? So at first it was just something to do like for extra money. Then I started taking it serious. I got into a salon, and where the purpose falls into play is we live in such a nasty world. And all my clients, they're so beautiful. And you know, when you sit down with your stylist, your nail tech, it's a therapy session.
Yeah.
And I enjoy my appointments because if their friends aren't building them up, then I am. So I feel like in a world where women are being degraded, in a world where guys don't respect women, they don't value women, like they're going to come to my appointment and they're going to leave. Not only are they going to leave looking good,
period,
but they're going to leave feeling good.
Yeah.
You know, I just feel like the world that we live in when it comes to women is just so like, and even women are, you know, degrading women, you know, and then like you look online, you know, for the celebrities, like we don't really have any role models. So, and then when it comes to little girls, little kids, I just love doing their hair. They're so sweet.
Aww.
And, you know, and for you, because you're a teacher, you have an impact on the children's lives. And I feel like as a stylist, when you're doing a little kid's hair, or even a barber, like you have an impact on their life. And I feel like too, parenting is not like what it used to be. So I feel like, because, you know, we don't do It Takes a Village anymore.
Yeah. But it really does. Like,
yeah, and I feel the same way. So I feel like, you know, if for however many years I'm doing these little girls' hair, like I can play a part in their life that's a positive role. Because I don't know like what they got going on like at home. You know, and you don't get, for the first time moms, like I only have one daughter, you don't get a book on how to be, you know, the right mom. And I just feel like if I can help the mom by installing like good into their children during the appointment, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So
that's beautiful, because like when I think about my job as an educator, like I'm just like supposed to, you know, fill up the kids' minds with like, you know, mathematics, reading and things like that. But I often find myself doing much more than that. Like I'm teaching basic life skills, like how to treat people, you know what I mean? How to be kind to others, because children literally mimic what they see and what's in front of them. So if like their parents are in the space to be able to be that role model for them, like that's when it falls on me. And sometimes I get, you know, a lot of pressure from like just the testing side of just education, like teaching to the test. Like that kind of has always like kind of pulled me away from education a little bit, because kids are much more than a test score. They require so much more. And I find a lot of my time where I'm parenting and kids are coming to me for advice, like, but Miss P, that, you know what I mean? And it's just like, as much as I want to help them succeed in their educational endeavors, I really want them to be well-rounded individuals.
Yeah.
And I only get them for a certain amount of time. So it's...
But you know what, though? For you as a teacher, you're around these children more than their parents are. So...
But when they leave me, it's just I'm left with that guilt. You're like, like, you know what I mean? I'll see, or, you know, I have a lot of relationships with my students. Like, I allow, like, a lot of people like, oh, they can't follow me on this. I'm like, they can follow me on whatever social media site, because I know, like, the impact that I have in my students' lives, and I don't want to ever have them feeling like they're cut off from me because they no longer have me as their teacher.
Right.
So, like, whether it's TikTok, I mean, Instagram is Instagram, but you know, however they can follow me and keep up with me to be able to reach out. It was so cute. One of my students last year sent me a video like last week of just how much she misses me and she's checking up on me. You know what I mean? So to me, it's just like, she has my phone number. You know what I mean?
That's so sweet.
It's not too many safe adults in this world. So like, I strive to be that for children, and, you know, want to teach them right from wrong from a loving place.
Yeah.
But, you know, just want to go back to, like, your purpose and just, like, you know, helping people feel beautiful, not only on the outside, but on the inside, too. Just, like, dealing with, you know, there's different type of stylists. You know, you have the ones that are, you know, for the monetary gains. And I'm not saying that we all don't deserve nice things in life. But, you know, when you're specifically there for that, you get a different type of clientele.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get regular customers based on like the therapy part of this, you know, the session, like, because a lot of people can do nice hair, you know, if I'm being honest, but you know, it's the relationship, it's the rapport that I build. And I don't like to call myself a chair hopper, but sometimes it's hard to find like a regular stylist for me because they don't make me feel safe. They do good hair. Now, I would say like they do some nice hair, but it's just like the outside looks good. And then like underneath is not. And even I find that to be common, like with just styles, like when they're doing my hair, like how much of my natural hair are they taking care of? Like, you know what I mean? Right. And I feel like there's some type of association there now, because if you cared about how someone felt on the inside, you would take care of the inside and maybe not just like the outside appearance. So same thing with like doing hair, like, you want it to look good on the outside, but are you really taking care of what's underneath? Are you making sure that that's going to be intact afterwards? Because a lot of people, hair textures or everything
hair texture
is different. And you can't just put one method for everybody's hair. And just like educator, I can't do one teaching style for every child.
Right. Everybody learns different. I'm a hands-on learner.
Yeah.
So
I'm visual.
Yeah, I'm a hands-on.
Yeah.
Not show me nothing. Don't show me nothing.
Yeah, so, you know, it really is a big part, you know, for women especially. I'll just speak from, like, experience, like, having a stylist that cares and wanting to actually talk to you. Like, some of them, you sit in their chair, and it's not like...
it's silent.
Girl.
The whole time.
I'm like, this is awkward.
Somebody had a bad morning.
Or, like, they're on the phone with other people, like, the entire time.
Yeah. And I think, or they're constantly stopping to and I used to do that. I did. I used to text, like, put it down, get back to braiding. And I lost a client like that. I learned my lesson real quick. So, and she's a family friend, and I tried, like, hey, you know, I know you didn't, you know, like the experience. Let's start all over. I'll do your hair for free. And no. So yeah, I learned my lesson. Like, okay, I'm put my phone down.
Yeah.
Because if it's super important, then you're blowing up my phone. But a text, I can text you when I'm done. So
yeah, I mean, and just like ultimately our phones are distractions anyway. You know what I mean? Just driving, cooking, like, you know what I mean? How many different things can you really do with giving your same attention to your phone? So even in education, like every now and then I'm on my phone at work. My kids want something or just something going on in life. And if I'm just looking away too long, something might happen in the classroom and I don't know what happened. And I got to take kids' stories as to what took place. And I'm just like, you know what, P, put it on for later, like on your lunch or whatever. It doesn't happen often, but you know what I mean? Just like self-correcting, knowing like, okay, I should have been more aware.
Yeah.
And being paying attention.
I'm the same. I'm trying to learn to keep my phone down. And not even just like at work or, you know, doing hair. Outside of work, just when I'm at home. I be trying to finish a book in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I just spent too much time on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Too much time on my phone. So one of my friends, he wouldn't get on his phone until noon.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about not getting on social media until noon.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you wake up in the morning. Well, I don't know about you, but when I wake up in the morning and I look at my phone, I eventually look at social media within like the 5 minutes before I even get out the bed.
Yeah.
And I have my apps to where like they shut off at 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
They don't, like, you have to, press another button to get in there until 7 in the morning. So, and I wake up at 4 every day. And I click 15 more minutes. Let me scroll through Instagram.
Yeah, no, I actually that's something like I'm working on, like in the morning. Some days I'm stronger than others. Like I'll try to wake up and pray first. I'll try to just do that, and then I'll give myself some time. Like I don't touch my phone. I'll wake up and pray. I'll get prepared for the day, and then I'll get to work. At least if I make it to work, and then I get on my phone. How many times I've accomplished that? Probably not as much as I like.
But that's a big accomplishment, though.
Yeah.
To not get on your phone, girl. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
And honestly, it's just discipline. And I've realized like the more disciplined I am, the more I love myself because I know that this is right. Like I know that this doesn't deserve that much attention. And there's been like studies on like the type of people that like look on their phones before they start the day and like how their mind shifts, like their perspective. Like the first thing you get on, you see how everybody's lives are going and you begin to like compare and then your whole like internal just kind of goes a different way versus like being just thankful for where you are in your life before you be able to like invest in someone else's.
Right.
Some people are really invested on social media.
I know.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
You find yourself arguing with people you don't even know.
Oh my God. Yeah. Or people who be arguing on like the shade room.
Oh, I don't even follow that page.
In the comments, I just be like, you don't even know them.
Yeah, I had to unfollow them. Like, I just can't do gossip. It's just not productive. And there's a lot of things, like I realized, like the more I could grow closer with God, that I just eliminate. Even like at work, I'm just like walking in the halls like this. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to get caught. Yes, like, because like people... The devil be using people just as well as God be using people, and you just gotta avoid those. Or if I am sidetracked, I make sure that my time is not. A lot of my time is not spent there. Like kind of just keep pushing. But yeah, it's a distraction. So I just kind of limit. Even that Justin LeBoy page, like over a year ago, I just blocked him.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's so good, though.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, I don't want to be reminded of the toxic ways of this world. I want to have hope that there's like a community of men out there that really do love their women and are faithful. Right. I don't think it's like cute or something to like get kicks and giggles out of, like the way.
I don't think so either. You know, my dad is so big on, I can't wait to walk my daughters down the aisle.
Period, Dad.
I can't wait to walk you guys down the aisle. And I just feel like the way the world is today, like I said, like they don't respect and men, they aren't ready, or they enjoy having multiple women. I don't know about me getting married because of the guys that I've seen out here. Like I haven't really met anybody like, man, like I messed that up. He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
So I haven't really met anybody like that.
Yeah. I mean, and I also feel, this is just me, and I normally am like, I ain't looking for nobody in relationships, but like I'm at the place where like I'm kind of like dating and I'm trying again. So I feel like you'll just know. Yeah. Like I just solely believe that like a lot of men are, how can I say it? They're like love bombing their way into some women's life, and a lot of women see that as like, it strokes their ego. Like, you know what I mean? And I just think that someone that's honest and true doesn't have to do that. They just have to be themselves, and it will just flow naturally. So I try not to go with those, like, they want to take you to exquisite places. And I'm not saying you can't go there, but, like, they don't even know you. Like, you know what I mean? They haven't truly held conversations. Like, what are we rushing for? You know what I mean? Just so, but I think like the more you, and then also before you can even go down that lane, I think you need to know what your purpose is, because
for sure.
you want to be equally yoked. You want to be on the same page as someone. So knowing what you're supposed to do, and him either knowing or already like kind of having that conversation with God is like a good place to start.
Yeah.
Because rushing and you choose the wrong person,
Crazy.
it's tough, and the Bible doesn't recommend divorce. You know what I mean? So it's just, unless like there's some adultery in place. So it's like, just if you're like committed with someone and you're not technically supposed to divorce them, now you're stuck with the wrong man.
Right.
Because you couldn't wait on God. Like, you know what I mean? Just so a lot of women
I think
idealize marriage.
I think women too, like I feel like, guys too love bomb their way into a relationship, but I think women rush too. And including myself, I've rushed a few times, or I said yes just because like I didn't want to break the other person's heart, because I felt like, oh, he likes me so much. Let me not hurt him. I'll say yes.
I've been like that before.
I think, and I'm just gonna say this from experience, I feel like when you don't know your purpose, I feel like you identify yourself with your man. Everything he likes, oh, I like it too. Everything he wants, oh, I want it too. And also too, when you don't know your purpose, you go for anybody. And I feel like and I didn't start, thinking about my purpose until last year. I'm 29 years old, and I never thought about it until last year. And I feel like too, when you're discovering your purpose, like a lot of things for me, because also too, like I said, I do a lot of reading, and I read personal development books only.
Me too. I like it.
Only. I don't want to read no funny stuff.
Right.
I just want to read because I feel like it's like a therapy session for me. And I've never been to like real therapy. And reading, I read this book, The Mountain Is You. And I felt like, wow, like I have a lot to work on with me. And maybe that was a reason why like my relationships weren't working, because I felt like I didn't need to work on nothing, but I'm blaming, my man, like, what's wrong with you? Why are you not like this? Why are you not treating me this way? But like, I got to look at myself too. I'm currently reading 101 Essays to Change Your Thinking.
Okay.
Such a good book. And I feel like too, another thing to keep me focused on my journey to, finish finding my purpose is I have to read my journal every day. I get easily distracted. So like any like old habits, if it had come up, I most likely will fall into doing the old habit. Like you said, the same way God comes into your life to pull you towards him, the devil does too. I feel like sometimes he placed me in certain situations, and sometimes like I fall for it. So I have to read my journal. And I mean, I do pray in the morning, but I feel like I have to read in the morning too, to make sure like my head is clear, my day is going to go good. And if something is to fall in my way where now it's like, all right, Liv, you got to choose, like, are you going to fall in, your old ways, or we going to just leave it at that and just keep going? I feel like when I read in the morning, like, I feel like I always choose the right thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I read self-help books too, because like I'm such a critical thinker. Like I love my mind is a like puzzle all day, and I really love math. It's one of my favorite subjects to teach.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, but just because of how complex it is. Like I like putting my brain to work. So I definitely resonate with that a lot. Like I've read a lot of self-help books just like on mental, because like I struggle with like negative distortions. Just like I could be in the best position ever and I will find something negative about it to just like take away from like the joy. So just like I have to read books like to constantly remind myself like I'm allowed to be happy. You know what I mean? I'm allowed to have just like, nothing has to be going wrong all the time, and realizing like how the devil, will like it's spiritual warfare basically, and he's attacking my mind, and how he'll use like situations I've been through to remind me like how unworthy of I am to be this happy over this. Like, but you did this, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like that's
And, you know, with that too, but you did this. It's hard, like when you are on your spiritual journey and you have certain people in your life who they do not let go of the past. Like, oh, you did this, but you're doing this now. You know, and I feel like for that, because I have like a prayer book, you know, the each
devotions.
Day. So I have one of those, and I have read, you know, not that we're supposed to judge people, but like you're supposed to take someone for who they are today, and if they're not the same person from the past, like you have to let that go.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, because I mean nobody's perfect, but I've made a lot of mistakes growing up. You know, me trying to change my life around. It's hard when you have people like, well, you know, Olivia, you can't say this because remember you used to do that. So it's hard. It's so hard.
It's so crazy you say that, because like when I've learned that like when you're walking with God, like when you're decided to give up those things, like those people have to go too. Like when God called Abraham, he told him to leave his father, to leave his family, and because those people will hold you back. Like they will try to confine you to who you used to be. And when he's making you new, the things of your past can't go with you. You know what I mean? So I tried to just like focus on like building my relationship with God just by like reading. And the more I read, the more I realize like these people are not taking the people that remind them of their past with them. Like, you know what I mean? They're just being obedient. And I've learned to be like, you know, we have a history, yes, but when you are saved and you give your life to God, you are born again in that moment. So you are no longer who you were. So at that point, I look at it as that like those people are just kind of like envious of your new ways of being because they can't make that leap, or they're struggling with making that leap, and that's okay. You know what I mean? And I just try to be a reflection of God. Like, you know, I love you, but this is who I am now. Like, this is where I am now.
And they could be struggling with accepting it because in 2020, my mom changed her life around and she got saved, and she was a brand new woman overnight. Like, no temptation, no nothing was stopping her. And for me, it was so hard to accept it. It was so hard. I was one of those people like, you preaching this, but you used to be that. It was so hard for me to, and I didn't even know why it was hard for me to accept it. I just, when she would come around, I used to get so angry. I used to get so angry. Like, I don't even know.
Sometimes it's like forgiveness. Like, you know,
maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's like I'm having a hard time forgiving you, and now I'm upset. So, yeah, but now I'm so happy for my mom. Yeah, I'm so happy for her. And she's still to this day, 4 years later, like she's still walking with God. She's still. Amen. She's teaching my daughter, you know.
That's that village.
Yeah. She's teaching my daughter, my niece. They reading, you know, the little children prayers book, and they're watching, you know, the little children prayer stories online. Aww. So, and my daughter will be like, she calls my mom the other mommy. So she was like, yeah, the other mommy said, that's just a bunch of garbage.
So innocent, so cute. That's beautiful though. Yeah. And it's you know, it's like you have to be strong. You know what I mean? In this, and I just read in my last podcast, like Joshua 1:9. I don't know them by heart yet, but like I'm learning my scriptures and stuff. And it was just like, you have to be courageous and be confident, like, and not feel discouraged, because like that's what the devil will try to do. Like he'll use people to try to remind you of who you once were and like remind you of the things you used to do. But it's like, God's with me. He said, this is who I am. So this is who I am. Like, and that has helped me like deal with things. Cause I know I have like peers that feel the same way, you know, like, well, she used to do this and she used to that. Okay. I don't have one foot in the past and one foot in the future. Like I'm 10 toes in the future. Like I'm walking with God. So it takes a lot of strength, like I said, and courage to be able to be full, like out in it. And I want to walk in purpose. So I know that God's like using me through my platform to be able to help others be like in this position, be courageous and not be weary of the things they went through or the things that they're going through, and just like being able to tell their story. Like we all have testimonies.
And it does, girl. I'll be watching your little things. And I'm like, I love this.
Yes.
Because, and you never know, what type of day somebody's had or how somebody's feeling. And there you go on somebody's timeline and they listen and it changes how they feel, if somebody's ready to commit suicide.
Listen.
And they watch your story. And I think it's so nice that you are open about your journey. It's not like you're keeping your journey to yourself and boom, you guys, here I am today.
Right.
Everybody's journey is different, but it's nice to know, like, okay, so she struggles just like I struggle. And okay, she may be, I feel like you a little further in your journey, but I can get there too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So,
and I mess up, and I feel like everybody has different weaknesses. And I have a Sisters in Christ group, so we're working on like spiritual warfare, and just this book by Neil T. Anderson called Bondage Breaker. And we're just talking about like how you walk in the world with like spiritual armor. Like there's 3 pieces of armor that you already have, and some pieces of armor that you have to put on every single day. Okay. And just being out here, like we talked about, like the devil will try to like bring you back and remind you. And that could be your peers. That can just be like activities, old memories, like negativity, gossip, just any like form. And it's real out here. So I want to be like completely authentic with people. Like, no, I'm still going through this. Like, you know what I mean? Like I am really still struggling, but I trust God in this. Like, and I see his hand in everything. And that allows me to feel confident to be able to share, because like you said, some people just show you the finish line. They don't really like show you like how they get there.
And I feel like, too, when you show your journey, like, that's, like, you being authentic. And I like meeting people and they are authentic. I'm happy for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
You finished, you're walking your journey. You got your head held high. You've appeared that you don't have no struggles. I'm cheering for you.
Right.
But for me, like, I have struggles, and it's nice to see, like, in my timeline, or nice to meet people that they struggle too. And, they share some tips on what they do to help them, be back on the right path.
Yeah. And that's good. I'm happy that, you feel some type of like revelation from it, because like when I'm up here, sometimes I'm like I say, I struggle with like mental, more of like the negative distortion. So I'm up here like worried about if it's coming out right, if I'm saying it clearly, and if I'm saying too much. But I know that.
No, you're saying enough.
Well, these are like my battles. It's not easy
I think you're
either.
Doing really good though.
Oh, thanks. I really appreciate that. So as far as like our purpose goes, is there anything else you wanted to talk about as far as like how your purpose has helped you like grow as an individual?
So for how I say I want to help uplift women, it's helped me because all my life I looked at my outside like, oh my God, I'm so pretty, I'm this, I'm that. But I never really like thought about like my self-worth. So like I've been like so insecure.
Girl, and it's okay. It's okay. Like, no, seriously.
So I feel like, uplifting them also helps uplift myself. And like I said, I'm 29 years old. And I don't feel like, at a certain age you should be doing this or doing that. But I feel like 29 is so late to start realizing your worth, start loving your... I feel like it is.
I just feel like numbers are illusions. Like, I feel like, every day is a new day. You know what I mean? So time is just allowing us to learn from our mistakes. That's how I see it.
I mean, that is a good way to look at it too. I think for me too, also, like with having a daughter. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like to my age, I feel like having a daughter, and she's 10, and I hope like things that she's seen like with me, she don't remember later on. And now like how I was when I was insecure, now it's like affected her.
I also feel like the every day you get up to fight is also in her too. My dad has always been in messed up situations, but every time he gets out of it. And that has really built up my resilience. Like I may fall down, but I get back up. And I feel you, like I have a 13-year-old and my youngest is 8. So I have 3 daughters that I'm constantly, like they're watching me every step of the way. But as I transition, they transition. And they are going to remember that too. And I think that's important, like not to like focus so much like on the bad part of it, you know what I mean? Because it's granted, all of us are going to suffer, you know what I mean? But like if you can help what part they get to suffer in, or you can help something that they know they may suffer in by just like going through it yourself, I think that's amazing in itself, because not only is she watching you mess up, but she's also watching you correct it. So a lot of us, like that's kind of being authentic as well. Like she gets to view it instead of us, some of us may hide that part of our life. Like our kids don't know if we mess up or what that looks like to correct. And I think that hinders someone just as much as actually seeing them go through it. Like, you know what I mean? So I just think like perspective plays a big part in, you know, parenting. Because my kids has watched us go from like a 2-bedroom apartment from us all sharing to owning a house. And like they watch me do every single step from working here to working here. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I'm more proud of that I've been able to pull myself out of that. So that gives them hope, you know, that they can pull themselves out of those situations.
True. So maybe I do got to shift my thinking. I do think like negative sometimes.
It happens.
Yeah, but I feel like of course I feel good uplifting other women. But it makes me feel like I could uplift myself also. And I'm not just like a pretty face, like I'm more than that. And I feel good feeling more than just a pretty face, because before, like I felt so empty. And you know, for dating that like guys that weren't good for me, because I felt empty.
They were filling voids.
Yeah, I was feeling like 100%, you know, I was flowing.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, but no, like, and then when you are in that space, and just like for me too, because I'm talking to myself most times when I am talking to other people, it's just like you have to find something else to fill yourself up with to take the place of the emptiness, because otherwise, like more type of feelings of anxiety, or I like to call them demons, like to take place, like to take up that space. You know what I mean? Whether it go from insecurity to like suicidal thoughts. You know what I mean? They'll try to come and just have a party if they can.
Girl.
So yeah. So, you know, I just try to fill up my space with like what God says about me. And then I try to become that. And then in that way I attract those things, because they say you are what you attract. So when you think about the type of men that you've dated, think about where you were at that time. You know what I mean? So if you were like broken on the podcast. You're good. We're real here. So if you were like broken in those moments, you were attracting broken people. And that's okay. You know, as long as you get to the point and you're aware. It's a lot of people that just keep going on with it and they never become aware. So they get stuck in that cycle, and then now they just figure there's no hope. You know what I mean? This is just the way life is supposed to be. But like, no, definitely fill yourself up with something more positive to remind yourself of your self-worth. So then now you start to feel it, and then you'll attract like that same energy. Yeah. It's beautiful. But I definitely thank you for being here with me today. Thanks for reaching out. It was like I don't try to like beg people to be like guests and stuff. So I really like appreciate when people gravitate towards me and ask me, because it just feels natural. I'm like, oh, this was supposed to happen. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do. I really love what you're doing. You know, with your podcast. I think it definitely can shine light on some. I mean, I feel like it shines light on mine sometimes for real. When not that I ever be like, you know, I don't want to do this journey no more, but sometimes I feel like nothing is happening. Like
I'm waiting seasons.
I feel like, and even other people that I follow, that they're posting their journey, it helps me. Even some of the friends that I keep going to church helps. So, and too, I feel like another thing that helps is like my affirmations. So I feel like that helps a lot too. Yeah.
Definitely. It definitely will help you, remind you of who you are. And I journal too. And I don't read all my journals all the time. Like it takes for me to get like in a really low place for me to like uplift myself. So I read my journals. But like I like to document. I like to document where I was and then later to see how I came out of it. So I really like that you journal and read too. That really does help. And, you know, if anything, if you need any words of encouragement, if you want to talk, if you want to have any type of like Bible study, like I'm down. Yeah. I love like, you know, connecting with people on their spiritual journey because ultimately I want to be surrounded with, you know, people that are Christ-like too.
Yeah.
So, but for the audience out there, remember you are not alone on your journey. It's spiritual, not personal. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Growth Purposes Only. Until next time, grow gracefully.